Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome back to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. Now, before I get started, a quick personal announcement. I've gotten quite a few questions from people asking if they could join the corporation or if we're recruiting now that I'm actually in a wormhole with my main. The answer is no. Core Incorporated is like our little baby, and we restrict it to real life friends and family only. That's just the way we enjoy playing EVE Online. We like to have no obligations towards anyone when it comes to playing games here personally. That's just our preference. If we would ever want to join like bigger plans, do bigger stuff, honestly we would probably just join a corporation or an alliance that is doing it. Let's say we'd want to explore like C5, C6, we'd probably just join a C5, C6 wormhole corporation. We'd want to go to Nullsec, we'd join Nullsec alliance. It would work out that way because co-incorporated, it's really like our personal project, our personal space and tail in EVE Online, and we're definitely going to keep it that way. So no guys, we're not looking to recruit, and we're really looking to do things our way without any obligations, without having to worry about different types of members, without having to worry about entertaining other people, working on the corporation and stuff like that. It's just us playing some EVE Online for fun. But we are here for the market, of course, so let's get started on that, and we will start with Plex, and I'm sure you've already seen it. 1,450 is what I'll write down for that. Pretty serious breakout for Plex. It was 137 just a moment ago. A couple coming in at 835 and 834. But if I go for the 6-month chart here, you can see that it's a pretty significant breakout right here at the tail end. If I go for the 1-month chart, you can see that in pretty much the last 10 days, Plex have really started to take off once again. This must be related to Phoebe somehow. I do think that it's possible that the infinite skill queue could be a part of this. EVE Online is after all a long-term game, and I can see like maybe big alliances. This is actually just a spur of the moment thought here, but if they want more capital and super capital pilots, I can see them just investing in Plex, getting all the skills ready. And then when Phoebe will hit, they'll pump those Plex in those accounts. They'll put all the skills in there, and they'll know exactly in this much time I'll have another capital pilot, I'll have another super capital pilot. Maybe a lot of people are looking forward to Phoebe and are expecting it to bring in a lot of new players, and thus some speculation might be happening here as well. And the end of the sale, that could be a factor here once again, but this is pretty significant. I think 835, 836 for a Plex is quite a high price, and it's definitely a breakout because you can see the 5-day moving average going up significantly and even pulling the 20-day moving average up as well. So it may have been a little bit of a top here at 835 if you look at the data points, but I'd be careful here. With more information CCP comes out about Phoebe, which is like maybe 2 weeks away or something like that, the more people will grasp with the idea of, well, what might be happening with Plex here, and so this could actually increase the speculation in my opinion. I would not be surprised if Plex would actually show a pattern similar to what we had with big expansions previously, where they would really take off substantially until the moment the release or the expansion hits. If CCP, for instance, then comes out with a trailer, brings in new people, they might buy a lot of Plex and flood the market a little bit because of how high they are. But yeah, I think there's a little chance that we will see a mirroring of what was previously the Plex market during winter expansions right here with the Phoebe release. At least that's my hope, because otherwise we're really looking at like 900 million or a billion for Plex pretty soon. Let's move on to minerals here, and we will start off with titanium, which is actually decently flat. This is the 1-month chart, and I really need to write down the time for that. So here is titanium. Last week it moved nothing. This week it's down like 1 cent, which is really nothing either. And so yeah, it looks to me like titanium has actually found its spot here at around 550, something like that on average, in between the buyers at 546 and the sellers at 556. Numbers wise here, look at that, 100 million, 120 million, 400 million. Here you get 200 million, 100 million, 400 million. Maybe a small edge on the buyer side here. There's a few bigger numbers here, but it's really not by much, and you are seeing a lot of competition and in the supply side as well, which means that the price is pretty much where it should be, and it's going to move sideways for the foreseeable future, I think. Let's have a look at the pyrite chart here. That one is actually dropping down on the 1 month, though it's pretty much okay as well, from 11.20 down to maybe 11.10 or something like that. Yeah, 11.07 for the sellers, 11 for the buyers. There's a little bit of oversupply. Look at that, 350 million, 260 million, and over here you've got 100 and 300 million, but well, actually those are pretty recent as well. So yeah, it's not dramatic here. Pyrite is down a little bit because there is a little bit of oversupply, but the differences are not that huge that I would expect a crash or anything like that. I would not be surprised that in a week or so, with some slower pyrite supplies, that the price could go back up a little bit. But in general, I'm still foreseeing like a pretty slow and steady price for these high-tech minerals, as far as I can see. Let's have a look here at Mexalon. Look at that. That's actually quite okay as well here in the last 2 weeks. Pretty much hanging around the 72 ISK mark. Up a little bit, down a little bit. Here we have the 5-day moving average crossing the very flat 20-day moving average here at the tail end. So I think it's all looking quite okay here as well. 71.83 for the sellers, 70 for the buyers. Very small margin. If I look at the numbers here, 44 million, that's actually a pretty big, very recent order. 16 million, 18 million, so it is there here. Look at that, 52 million. Supply demand for Mexalon actually looks pretty much okay. You can also see that there's actually a lot of very recent orders, and here as well. So there is decent competition. People are buying the stuff, they're providing the stuff, and this is actually creating a healthy, steady market so far for high-tech minerals. Let's have a look at Isogen. Was that one pulling back a little bit? Yes, it is, from 128 to 122 on a month. Again, it's actually not really anything to panic about. The data points, they're down a little bit more. Let's have a quick look here. 119.2 for the sellers, 115 for the buyers. 115, yeah, that's actually down a little bit for Isogen. Let's have a look at supply demand here. Well, look at that, a very recent order of 24 million units coming in. Nothing like that on the sell order side. I would not be surprised that it's going to stop at around the 115 mark and then start to go back up and stay in like 115, 120 region. I think it's possible. You're still seeing a good amount of recent sell orders here as well. And a good amount of recent buy orders too. So yeah, there's still a lot of activity. I think supply demand is actually counter to the drop, so I think it's going to end pretty soon. But overall, high-tech minerals, they're doing quite okay and managed to maintain their prices. Let's move to Noxium. Let's see, that's an in-between one. That one, yeah, it's still going down, although it's hesitating at like 630. You can see here a hesitation, then a drop back down to 600, breaking that hesitation here again. But we're currently looking at 585 for the sellers, 576 for the buyers. The oversupply, I'm not seeing that here anymore, but yeah, stuff coming from nullsec and maybe wormhole space, stuff like that, is actually going down here. Noxium for the entire month from 650 to below 600. That's actually a pretty big movement, and if I break out the 6-month chart, you can actually see that after the correction we are now on a 6-month chart from 760 to below 600 for the first time. So it is a serious pullback in the last 6 months and in the last month as well for Noxium. Let's have a look at Megasite next, maybe, because that's not really good. I was hoping this was the end right here and bounce back to 860, but we are already back down, heading towards 760. I don't think I've ever seen Megasite this low. 766 for the sellers, 752 for the buyers, and still 6 million units here coming in, 2.5 million units coming in here. That's actually pretty amazing to me. Not what I expected. I moved in at like 950 or so, way too early. Yeah, and it's still going down. There's really no end in sight for Megasite, and it's downward trend. Let's have a look here at Zydrine. That one is finally stalling a little bit on the 1 month from 534 to 540, 535 to 545. Not really anything too big, and dropping at the tail end here as well. In fact, 540 for the sellers, 534 for the buyers. So it may be that it's not going to go much lower for Zydrine. But if I look at like the 6-month chart, you can see that it has already corrected quite significantly. If this downward pressure, wherever it comes from, is maintained like what we're seeing with Megasite here, I would not be surprised that that Zydrine could be going lower as well. So have a quick look at the Morphi chart. Also, wow, quite a significant crash. 6 months from 7,000 to 4,400 on the sellers, and if I go for the 1 year chart, from 7,500 to 4,400 for the sellers and 4,400 for the buyers. So this is pretty pretty amazing how this has gone down substantially, and there's just no end in sight for these corrections in the null-sec minerals. Here, more fight, of course, prices touching each other on sellers and buyers. I mean, 0.5 ISK margin on a 4,400 ISK or ISK product, that's something I've also never seen before. So this is, I think, quite an exceptional situation for those null-sec high-end minerals, however you want to call them. Pretty interesting stuff. You may be able to make quite a good move on this. Let's move on to see what the impact has been on Tech One chips then. 1130. We'll just touch on this because I actually think that they're doing quite okay. Look at that Caracal, small spike because of buying, but 1040 to 1020, so that's on 1 month pretty much a sideways movement. Big supply chunk coming in here at 289 units pretty recently, but here 100 units being bought as well. 20, 28, 64, 29, 10, 10, 6. This is okay, you know, this is a good supplied market, and I think Tech One is actually doing quite okay despite all the changes we've had to industry. In the summer, the Dominix is going up from 184 to 191, but I would not be surprised that is actually normal market behavior. Supply is starting to come in my opinion. Look at that, 10, 6, 9 units. You're not seeing such big numbers for battleships in one go for the buyers here, 29 and 30 as well. So I think that this will actually correct a little bit if you look at supply demand, and I'm still seeing an okay Tech One ship market here for the Dominix that is not extreme in like its crash, which is what we've seen for minerals, or at least high-end minerals, or in an uptrend, which is really what we're seeing for Plex at the moment, I would say. The Drake here again from 45.5 to 47.5, that's just 10 million. The chart may look a little bit more dramatic, but it's actually quite okay, and you can already see here again that it's actually coming back together more closer to 47 million or something like that. So 46 buyers, 47.7 for the sellers, but higher prices, a bit more supply coming in. Looks quite okay. Quick touch on the magnate chart here, but that one is, maybe I should really remove that one because we're not learning anything from a frigate. That we're talking huge numbers here, 870 being brought to the market right away. They're being bought in batches of 50 to 100 as well. It's very hard to actually have an impact on the price in such an established market where such big production numbers can be brought to the market very quickly. So yeah, maybe I'll just remove the magnate. I think I'll see if I want something else. Here the Talos are breaking out a little bit. Still, keep this in mind. It's only from 70 at the bottom, 72.5 at the beginning of the month, and now at 75, where it's already tapering off as well. Sellers, yeah, 78. They're still trying. You know, someone is buying a lot of Taloses, but I'm convinced that in 1 or 2 weeks, supply is going to be right back up here. Talos closer to 70 million, a normal price, and so there are some very short-term opportunities, I think, but people are ready to fill the gaps with the industry when it comes to the Tech One market, in my opinion. So all looking pretty good, nothing out of the ordinary, I would say. The Talos, yeah, maybe an opportunity if you have a few in reserve. Let's move on to some Tech 2 stuff then for some trade opportunities. 14.45 for that. Let me see here. Absolution, we'll go for 6-month charts. Once again, Absolution is still very high. I'm actually quite surprised how long it's managed to maintain a price in like 260 to the 270 million band. So I would say produce and sell those, but for trade, nope, not what I would be looking for. Astarte also still way too high. Claymore, god damn it, that data point is annoying. Claymore taking off a little bit. Maybe if I go for a 3-month chart, nope, it's still there. 1-month chart, yeah, look at that. That's a little bit more interesting. 276 at the start, dropped to 264, and now already back up. Sellers 280. So maybe a very short-term opportunity, but I would still call this very risky. Because prices are still extremely high for these command ships for some reason. Damnation, here we go, that was a small opportunity. That's what I like to see here, starting at 280, dropping to 250, back up towards 270, breaking it at some data points, going back down, now moving back up. So I would not invest in the Damnation, but at least there is some healthy trade-worthy movement on the chart here. Let's have a look here at the Eagle. Again, this is a lot better. Look at that here, touching 170 and breaking out above 180. Current sell orders 184. You know, that's almost 10%. That's starting to be okay for some trade action. The EOS here going down nicely. Keep an eye on this one, I would say. It's being decently flat here at the tail end, but at least it's not at its very high price here. It's coming off of a high, so that could be a bit more interesting. The Guardian, that's nice to see. Look at that, 3 nice big spikes on a 6-month chart. We're right at the end of another one here, going down. Once you come closer again to this bottom price of like 135, 130, you're in interesting territory to buy a few Guardians. You can make a few good trades. This is a chart that I really like for Tech 2 stuff here. The Hound again, I can clearly see 3 spikes here. It's again going down towards like the 19 million. Yeah, 20 million, 18 million for the buyers. There is some buying opportunity here, but you can also see that there is some money to be made in this market for traders. Here is the Manticore chart again. Look at that, it's actually pretty good. A nice uptrend here, a nice spike up to 28, and then look at that downward, back up again, back down again. This is really what I like to see for traders. Nemesis not that pronounced, one big spike here in the middle. For the rest it looks like the Nemesis is a little more stable than a few of the other ones. So have a look here at the Nighthawk, extremely high price, again a command ship. If you can produce them or if you have them, I'd look to sell. Purifier here, look at that drop off here. Coming into interesting territory, I think. 17 million for the buyers, 18 million for the sellers. That's like, yeah, below the entire chart for 6 months. So I think that could be interesting. Scimitar, again here, this is logistics cruisers, just like with the Guardian, just like maybe 1 or 2 weeks behind on the Guardian here. The Scimitar very high again, with buying opportunities at like 140 to 145. Current prices 175, 167 actually for the sellers. So yeah, that's some money to be made right there. Sleipnir, yeah, maybe almost interesting. At least it's off of its high here, so keep an eye on that one, I think. And then the Vulture, that one is more interesting. Look at that, starting to hit 240, which is below what it was 6 months ago. It's off of its highs. Keep an eye on the Vulture as well. A few of them, like the Absolution, still just way too high. Produce those if you can. But a few of the command ships are coming into a territory where maybe I think it's worth it to keep an eye on them. So yeah, Tech 2 market, I think still healthy, still a lot of ships with nice big bounces where you can make some money. So I think that's still looking quite okay. Let's take a look at Tech 3 then. 19 minutes for that one. Let's have a look here at this chart. The Legion, this is the 6 month chart, so maybe the 1 month is a little bit more interesting. Look at that big breakout, almost I would say, from 130 or below 130 to 136 at the announcement of this live event that was related to Tech 3 ships, and now here back down to 133. So because no big announcements by CCP, people are maybe losing hope a little bit that the rebalance will be for Phoebe. Let's have a look here at the Loki. Oh, whoa, that's completely different. The Loki is actually still on its downward trend for the entire month, and it doesn't look like the announcement has actually changed anything. This is the Proteus here. Look at that temporary spike, but it's already coming back. Maybe I should look at some supply demand here, but yeah, 2012. Pretty much the first half here are very recent. You're only seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 recent ones, some of them very opportunistic. Here is the Tengu 1469 still here. Let's have a look at Loki. Oh my god, 34, 13, 12, and these are the most competitive sell orders right here. That's just way too big in numbers. 25, 11, 14 for the Legion. So if there was any doubt, oversupply, it's still right there. And again, very short-term spike for the Tengu, but without any concrete announcements, people are actually holding off on investing a lot in Tech 3 ships at the moment. So the oversupply dynamic is taking over, pushing the prices down very, very low. And then finally, for the extra one, I'm going to check out the heavy interdictors, which are going to be changed in Phoebe. I'll write down 2045 for that. And yeah, they get some interesting stuff. So let's see, I think they're like cruisers, advanced cruisers, heavy interdiction cruisers. There we go. Let's start maybe with the Amar Devoter. Well, we can finally see an announcement that actually did have an impact. So they should be able to stop a capital and super capital, maybe super capital, not sure, from jumping through a gate. They'll have a mechanic that will allow them to time their cooldowns when it comes to bubbles and stuff, so a little bit better with overheating, so that they can get reps a little bit better. This should help their survivability. Obviously, heavy interdictors are primaries quite a lot of the time, and they'll actually get some more combat capabilities. So they actually get buffed quite significantly, and they'll have a very nice role to bring on roams to, if you come across a capital that's trying to take a gate or something, you could actually stop it with a heavy interdictor. So very interesting. And here the voter, after actually going down towards like 200 million, actually taking off, and now 240 million. Buy orders having followed suit is actually very important, I think. Kaldari, it's the Onyx. Whoa, no big reaction for the Onyx. A little bit surprised here. Look at that. Still 270 and 254. Is that just not showing up on the chart? No, it's actually in its normal territory. Here is the Phobos, also not a big reaction. And here is the Broadsword. That one at least is taking off. So I guess maybe those are like more popular or something. Let's have a look at the volumes. Big volume here. That's probably the announcement. And taking off quite a bit here as well. Let's have a look at the Phobos. No volume, I'm not really seeing that big of a movement on the volumes for these two. And then the Devoter here, yeah, that's definitely big volume, people investing in Devoters and in Broadswords because of the changes. That's quite interesting. Maybe they're just better PvP ships and they're used in PvP situations. And so people judge their buffs as being really the ones that they'll probably fly. I think that's yeah, pretty interesting how these two have did increase in price, increase in volume as well, whereas the Galente one and the Kaldari one not so much, not even a peep about their buffs and their new capabilities. So pretty interesting. You can see that the EVE Online market is super complex and quite difficult to predict. But yeah, that's it for this EVE Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.